Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is Horizon Shift. This is my first impressions, but before I begin, make sure you guys know I reached out to the developer to cover this game. They gave me a key in return. That will not influence my first impressions of this game, however, you guys should know as the consumer. Now, Horizon Shift is exactly what I like to see from the indie scene, in terms of taking a gameplay concept as simple as shoot 'em ups, and tweaking it, working with it, and really taking it a new direction. Horizon Shift has a gimmick, but that gimmick works well, and that gimmick works so well, in fact, that it's hard to understand exactly what it does for the genre and what it does well in its gameplay. But I'm going to attempt to show you guys this as I go along here. Now, we are going to play the arcade mode, so first of all, let's go right. Now, this is a little bit edited coverage at this point. I thought is a little bit better for the coverage that I wanted to do. Full first impressions edited didn't make sense. All right, you can see the gimmick already. Unlike most of them where you're at the bottom of the screen, you're at the middle of the screen. And the thing is, you can switch sides on that. So enemies will come from both sides, and you have to deal with them appropriately. Now, this does change things a little bit, because I'm going to show you exactly why here. I'm going to let one of the enemies hit my horizon, and that's what the middle part here is called, the horizon. So I'm going to let that guy on the right hit there, and now he stays there. He's actually going to stay on there until either I hit him or I knock him off with a bomb, which is important to know, because now I have less room to maneuver. I got to switch back and forth very quickly here. Now, waves are completed either by killing the amount of enemies in question, or just sort of holding on until the time runs out at that point. At least that's what I've seen. Now, one of the strong points of the game is, of course, the horizon itself. The fact is that it changes things up, and that's a use of the bomb, for example. I did just get a power-up, a reflection power-up that lets me go to both sides. I'll get to power-ups in a bit. The thing is that what this game does well is understand what the horizon adds to gameplay. The thing is that the horizon becomes sort of your limiting factor, and you have to protect it at all costs. Now, not all enemies will just, sit on your horizon. Some enemies will actually literally take it out. So, for example, you will see here that I've got boulders coming, and you notice that a little bit dropped off at the end there. That's the thing. The asteroid hit it and actually knocked off part of the horizon. Now, I have the ability to double jump in terms of the gameplay in question. However, if your horizon becomes smaller and smaller, you obviously have less room to work with. And then when you have enemies like you saw before that, take up space on the horizon, there's only so much you can do in terms of moving around. And so the gameplay not only is about keeping yourself alive, but keeping yourself alive and protecting your horizon, because that means you're going to have little space if you don't, protect it accordingly, which really changes up gameplay. Now, this is a wave-based shooter. There are several modes on it. There are like some more serious modes, like a tournament mode where you don't have power-ups and you only have one life to work with. And now you also see some of the hazards that the game throws at you. Now I've got to dodge these, spikes that are coming out at this point, which again changes up my gameplay, especially when I've got the reflection power-up, where I've got both of these there. If one takes a hit, the other one's okay at that point. I won't lose a life, but you got to keep that in mind, because it changes things. It really does. Especially when you sort of got to think about, okay, what direction I am at and how do I change it? You have to look at both sides of the screen. It does a very, very good job. And especially when an enemy gets on your horizon, it is the only way to take it off is a bomb. The thing is that you can't shoot left and right. You can only shoot up and down. That changes things. That changes things a lot. Now, as you say out there, I lost my reflection there, but I can now move back and forth easily. What the game does well is understanding that concept. The enemy configurations in particular make you have to react to that enemy configuration. Now, you saw there I jumped right into an enemy because I didn't think I had any other way to move. Those different configurations on who to go after first and what to go after first is important. Like those blue bats here, the blue bats will knock out part of my thing. I want to take them out first. The other guys, yeah, they're going to cause me a little bit of problems, but not as many problems as everything else. Now, one thing I will say for the game is the boss fights, and the boss fight is coming up here. They are a little bit iffy. They don't do the job necessarily that I would want them to do. They're very straightforward, and even though you get some bullet hell mechanics from them, I felt like they could have done it a little bit better. I felt like the boss fights honestly were the weakest part of the gameplay. Now, one other thing I want to note is the visuals. At first, I didn't like the visuals at all. That's because it starts on normal visuals. If you set it up to high, you definitely get a lot better experience from the game. But on that said, it's not exactly the greatest in terms of visuals. Very simple mechanics, very simple neon colors, although some of the neon colors don't have that sort of glow to them that I would expect from a game like this. You also get situations like this where obviously I can't, attack them, but that was my own fault. I die here. So I'm going to play a little bit more for you guys so that this video is longer and show you a little bit more of the gameplay. There is a high scoring system. I am apparently the top scorer at the moment. I know it's pre-game, but, pre-release, but, hey, I'll take it as I will. I am using controller for this, hence my little problems with attempting to put in my name. Just because I got, sick of it. I'm like, okay, Dragnix. So I go and look at the leaderboards here, but I'm going to show you a little bit more gameplay because I want to really get into this game. See, I'm the top scorer. I was a top scorer in Horizon Shift, guys. I've got skills. Okay, so I want to show you guys a little bit more of the game. Now, these are the modes that are unlocked. As you go along, you can unlock more, I believe. I don't know what their circumstances or their criteria are. Now, they're basically the same game modes, but the thing is that there's the configuration of them. Like, for example, survival, I only have one life. I start with full power-ups in terms of my weapon speed and my speed in general, but it's a little bit different. Also, I like the customization. There are little things like, the game speed. I can turn the tutorial on and off, rapid fire, so on and so forth. There also is some effects there. I don't like the effects. They're like CRT monitors, scan lines inverted. Maybe people like to change things up like that, but I'd rather have the simple gameplay in question. So now you see here that I'm a little bit faster. I have the lightning bolts down there, which means I'm the fastest I can be at that point. Those are power-ups you can get in the normal arcade mode. So this game is going to start you off, and it's going to start you off simple. It's going to start you off with just the boulders running at you. It will start, bringing things more and more at that point. I do want to see a randomization element of this. These are all based on waves, and I see where they're going with the wave base architecture. Again, a lot of these things are put together correctly in terms of game design, in terms of enemies configurations causing you different scenarios. I still want to see sort of a randomized mode where it just throws whatever it wants at you, because I can see this for even a wave-based shooter. I can see this, sort of wearing out after time. It's very similar to other shoot-'em-ups of the genre, but if you're wanting to perfect and go for high scores, yeah, this is definitely going to work for you. Now, you do definitely feel the power-ups in terms of, you can see here, I'm just blasting through everything. And so having full weapon power-ups, awesome. I do like some of the power-ups in terms of, the reflection mode. I do want to see some more power-ups. I don't know exactly what I would suggest, though. Maybe, like an immediate bomb power-up, maybe, I don't know, maybe you get a shield power-up, for example. I feel like there's something else that could be in there to, add a little bit more variety to the game, but the power-ups that are there do feel substantial and make you feel more powerful. We got another boss fight here. Now, the game will change it up on you in terms of the different type of boss fights. Like this one, you saw the boss fight from before where it moved you to the one side of the screen. This one's not so much. Now, I will say the boss fights are very, very simple. I don't know if I necessarily like that. I always felt like the boss fights in that, even though I died to the bosses in both of these runs, I always felt like the bosses were a lot simpler than everybody else, which even though I died to both of them, I felt like the majority of my deaths came from the just random deaths that happened in the regular mode, and the boss ones were more so it happened once in a while. So I do want to see a little bit more complexity from bosses, but I guess I can't really complain. Now, you do get bonus rounds but after you defeat a boss to get more points, and this is obviously Breakout. They've all been Breakout from what I've seen so far, which, it's cool. I think the ball moves rather slowly. It also feels like it's just, okay, maybe it's a breather time. The game's not too fast-paced, so I question whether or not it was needed. But I also decide here that well, I'm not going to hit it. No, I just missed. So now I want to talk about the UI a little second because I think that's the weakest part of the game. Notice how like there's a glow that surrounds your ship. Like if you move it, notice how you can't see the score as much anymore. Now, while the UI parts aren't necessarily as important as anything else, I think in particular the chain is important, especially for score runners. And I feel like it was unnecessary to do that, especially like with UI elements, they should stand out for you. And if you're going to put them there, then either have them be able to, you know, turn it off or anything, or turn this effect off. Maybe there is an effect. I noticed a lighting effect in the options, but I felt like it was unnecessary. I also want to see the bullets being white, especially with white being the sort of surrounding horizon and the sort of play box. I think white was a poor choice for bullets in question. Just because, again, it doesn't draw your attention. Bullets should draw attention because they can kill you, especially in modes like this. I felt like that was a better choice to use maybe another neon color that you haven't chosen before. Like maybe, I don't know, like a bright orange. I don't think I've seen an enemy with orange necessarily. Bright yellow would have been a good choice, just to sort of drew your attention. Like similar to what you're firing, although it needs to be different because you need to be able to see it differently from everything else. Now, I do like how certain enemies seem to follow color patterns. Like red enemies are enemies that are going to end up falling on your horizon in some point or going around your horizon. Blue are things that can destroy your horizon. And so I do like that sort of, it doesn't tell you that specifically, but as you play on, you sort of notice it. Music, sound design, it's all right. It's not anything that's going to change the world. I mean, it's competent. I do like the fact that it gives you options to change the music, whether or not to be a classical, play it on a specific wave, or random, or whatever you feel like. Again, though, I just don't feel like it stands out in any way. I really do want to say this game is exactly what I'm looking for. When I first saw the game in terms of the trailer to cover it, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I've seen other games like that on Greenlight that I saw like this, but it always was a question of, can they execute? And I will say that Horizon Shift executes rather well. And for a $5 game, the thing with $5 games on Steam is that they can be very, very, very hit and miss. They either fill a really big niche or they are something that, you know, somebody put together. It may not be that great. However, when you see a $5 game like this that comes along, that sort of not only changes things, but, you know, challenges the genre, that's what I love to see it. I really have to give Flum Studios credit for this, for challenging that. One other note that you might have seen there, the bomb also serves as a healing for your horizon. You'll notice that one part of the section of the horizon got damaged. You can heal it with the bomb, which is actually rather tactical and rather cool. Overall, Horizon Shift is a game that I have to recommend. I mean, anybody who's in the shoot 'em up genre, for $5, you could do a lot worse. A hell of a lot worse, that's for sure. I will be giving a game away because I do want to support indies, and even though I got a key there, I do want to sort of be like, you know what, this is definitely worth it at this point. So I will be giving away. Leave a comment below to be entered into that contest. All right, this is Dragnix signing out. If you like this video and the review that would associated it, let me know, and I'll see you all later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this content or are looking for more shoot 'em up videos, go check out Jigoku Ketsukan on the left hand side of your screen. If you're looking for my last video, Armed with Wings Rearmed, hit that right side of the screen. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, it does help. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.